I went from this to this in just a little under 7 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You may be asking yourself, what the heck am I watching here, Bob? Well, what you're watching is me walking. I know that may not seem like a whole lot, but just a little over 8 months ago, I could barely stand for more than 2.5 minutes without severe pain. And now I'm out here walking every day. For those of you returning to the channel, I'm glad you're back. Hang on a second. I always have to pause when I'm out here walking by the street because cars are supposed to be going quite a bit slower than they do, but that's okay. At least it wasn't a really loud truck. But I was saying, yeah, I'm glad you're here. Hard to believe we're closing in on 3,000 people watching my stuff, my videos. Unbelievable. But I do thank you. I thank each and every one of you for tuning into my videos. Today is just a little bit of an update video. Oh, here comes one of them loud trucks. You can hear it coming. Today we're going to talk about this being one of my anniversaries, and I'm going to ask you a question a little later on that it's pretty important that you answer to yourself. But first, the short version of today's story is that 5 years ago today, of course it'll be yesterday because you guys, actually today's Thursday, so it'll be 2 days ago by the time you see this, because this is Saturday's video because I do live streams on Friday. But today, while I'm recording this, is Thursday, and it's the 5-year anniversary of the day I walked out of the hospital from having a triple bypass surgery. That's the short version. Now, let's explore this just a little bit more. Talk about my journey from then to today. You know, of course, I got out, I believe it was a Friday 5 years ago. But I had my surgery on Monday evening. And on Wednesday, I think it was, they told me they were planning on sending me home Thursday night or Friday morning. And of course, at that time, I didn't feel like I was ever going to get out of the hospital. But it's amazing how quickly you recover these days, to a certain point. Because, of course, bypass surgery wasn't really that much of a thing back when my dad had his second heart attack. And basically all they did was keep you in the hospital for observation and watch you for a couple of weeks. And they had you lay still, whereas, you know, basically 10 hours after my surgery, they had me sitting up. But yeah, he was literally walking across the lobby floor of the hospital, leaving the hospital from his second heart attack when he had his third heart attack, and that was the end of that. Of course, that was more than 40 years ago. We made a lot of advances in medicine since then. But the thing we haven't made advances in, as far as the mainstream public is aware of, is nutrition. Oh, they say they've made advances, and they'll point to the food pyramid or the every plate or any of these other government-sponsored ways of eating. I just don't know how it's still a thing. Because, again, now may not be for everybody, but this is my N=1 experiment, my personal experience. When I got home from the hospital, I did have an initial rush of feeling better, but that happens, when your heart suddenly starts getting enough blood. Going from the restricted and blocked blood vessels going to the heart to now fully open bypasses. The initial glut was my blood pressure dropped a lot, but that was just from the opening of the vessels. It slowly climbed back up over the course of the next month. But the first week or so at home was not a very good week, but I did get a little stronger. I had the initial glut of feeling better, but that didn't last very long. Sorry about this wind. There's a storm coming tonight, and it's out there over the mountains somewhere heading this way. So we're probably going to have some wind noise on this video. But yeah, and then after I'd been out of the hospital for a week, I started what they call cardiac rehab. Cardiac rehab is basically a gym inside the hospital, and they have you show up. There goes another truck. But you show up, and they hook you up to heart monitors, and then have you do exercises. Now, of course, these exercises are not what I would consider strenuous exercises today. I mean, it's walking very slowly on a treadmill or riding a stationary bike very slowly. But, over the course of 8 weeks, you slowly built up. But the part of that process I wanted to talk about today was after you did, was basically they had 3 exercises for you lined out each day, and each one lasted 10 minutes. So you did 10 minutes on a machine, and then you switched machines and did 10 minutes on the next machine, and so on and so forth. And with the 5-minute breaks in between, it took about 40 minutes. The final 20 minutes was what they called nutrition classes. And this is where we haven't made a single improvement in decades. I don't really recall all of their advice, but two of the things that stick out was, they recommend you start using this no salt. So basically they want to cut sodium chloride completely out of your diet. And as we now know, those of us who are studying in this space, cutting salt out of your diet is extremely bad for you. And the other one that they were still teaching. Because, I talked to her about this. I said, the dietitian, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, told me I could eat a couple of eggs a day. And this ill-informed so-called heart recovery dietitian said, well, that might be why you had to have triple bypass surgery, because eggs are terrible for you. If you really like eggs, you can have 1 or 2 a week, but don't have any more than that. How can they get that stuff so wrong? But I followed all their advice and continued to sink slowly back into even worse and worse health, to where I was when I started this diet, which was basically circling the drain. I spent the next 4 years feeling worse than I'd ever felt before. 4 years and a few months, actually. Feeling just awful. Sure that every night when I went to bed, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to wake up the next morning. But I surprised myself and kept waking up. But now the carnivore diet has changed my life. It's given me my life back. Here I am, I'm out here walking every day. And the big question that I talked about earlier, that I want to ask each and every one of you, especially if you're not doing a carnivore diet at all, and for those of you that are following my channel, now remember, if what you're doing is working for you and you're getting results, there's no reason to change at this point. But if you're not getting results yet, and you're still hanging on to 1 or 2 bad foods because you really like them, and you are feeling better, but you think you could feel even better than that, or you're not losing the weight you wanted, or whatever it is. But this is primarily aimed at those who have not started yet. What are you waiting for? It's not going to get better until you make a change. Even if all you do to start is cut out vegetable seed oils, that's a really good first step. Or if all you do is cut out highly processed foods, that's also a really good first step. If all you do is cut out grains, which just turn into sugar when you eat them, that's also a really good first step. Pick something and just start today. Don't say, oh, well, I got this coming up and that coming up, and I'm going to wait till I do this or do that. If you keep finding excuses not to start, you'll find a new excuse not to start. And then you'll find another excuse not to start. And you'll never start. And a year from now, you'll be in the same place you are today, or even worse off. I'm not at a year yet. I'm just a few days over 8 months into it. I'm curious to see the difference in the pictures between my 59th birthday and my 60th birthday. It's coming up. We're just 4 months away now. A little less than 4 months now. But in support of this, for What Are You Waiting On? Bella, the steak and butter gal, put out a great video this morning. She was part of the crew down in Costa Rica making Reversed Season 3. And she asked all of the greats, and I mean it was an all-star cast, a who's who of people we watch. I mean, Dr. Berry, Dr. Chafee, Coach Bronson, Kelly Hogan, Dr. Oliva, the cardiologist, the cardiac surgeon, whose book was Stay Off My Operating Table. I forget how to pronounce his name. But they were all down there, and I may have missed somebody, and if I missed somebody that was there, I'm sorry. But she asked them all the same question. What do you regret most about your own personal health journey? And to the person, they said, oh, and Dr. Kiltz. Dr. Kiltz was there too. It's like I said, it's an all-star cast. I'm looking forward to watching it when it comes out. But to a person, they said, I wish I'd known sooner. And that struck me because, I wish I'd known about this 35 or 40 years ago. Where could I be today if I'd known about this? But, of course, all the information I was getting from the time I got discharged from the service till a year ago, they didn't know it was wrong information that I was getting. I didn't know it was wrong information that I was getting. They really thought they were doing what was right, which brings us back around to my point: when is nutrition going to catch up? And that's why I frequently ask each and every one of you to share this with somebody. Post it to your favorite social media site. Just share this out. Or if you don't like me well enough to share my stuff, share a Dr. Berry video, or a steak and butter gal, or a Kelly Hogan, or a Dr. Kiltz, or any of the number of people that I've mentioned. Just share. Get the word out to as many people as possible. Because that's how we're going to affect a change in our nutrition. Not just our nutrition, but everybody's nutrition. And if there are enough people out there like me who have had similar experiences throughout life, and then suddenly realize everything they've been told is fact for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however long it's been, for however old they are, they finally discover that what they've been taught as fact is wrong. Getting that word out could be one of the most important things we ever do in our lives. Getting somebody else the message. It's very important. I mean, if you have a brother or a sister, or a mom or a dad, or kids, or aunts and uncles, or cousins, or best friends that are going down the same path of getting heavier and heavier and slowly sinking into bad health. You got to get over this fear of being laughed at or ridiculed or whatever it is that's stopping you from sharing. And just tell them, look at me, this is what I did. And it can work for you too. So I ask you again, what are you waiting on? But that's enough preaching about this for one day. The wind is really kicking up hard, so I'm sure the audio on this video is going to be terrible. So let's have some good audio for a bit by cueing the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. I'm gonna duck back here into the corner between the building and my trailer. See if I can't get out of this wind a little bit. Talk to you for just a few seconds more. Oh yeah, now we're back here in the corner. I got a little step stool here I'm going to sit on. Oh. There we go. Okay. So, if you haven't started yet, what in the world are you waiting on? I am the proof right here in front of you. At least a pretty good indicator of what can happen for you. You know, this is just my N=1 experiment that I've done on myself. And, you know, don't take my word for it. Go look at Dr. Berry, Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Chafee, the Heart Doc. Go look at Kelly Hogan's story. Go look at Steak and Butter Gal's story. Because I'm certainly not the expert that they are. But, you know, if you don't change anything today, you're going to still be in the same situation or worse a year from now. And I have certainly made some changes. And again, really important, share this out there. And, you know, you can go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below. All those little things help trigger the YouTube stuff so that it shares this with more people. And the more it gets shared by YouTube, the more people we can reach, the faster we can get healthy again. And the more people we get healthy, the more likely it is that mainstream nutrition will sit up and go, hey, wait a minute, maybe we got something wrong here. But that's what I've got for you today, guys. I hope you're having a great week. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.